Hi, so I want to speak to some women tonight. You are a woman, a powerful woman on your job or in your business. And when you get home, you are this mousy Christian woman. You know what I mean? I know I'm speaking to someone who needs this message. I've been given this message for a few days and I'm now delivering it because someone needs to hear it. I know too many women who walk into the boardroom or they walk into a context that requires their intellect, their input, everything out of them, and they do so with vigor and with power, and they get the job done. And then they walk through the door of their house and they walk into the bedroom and into a very different life. And sometimes it's not just a physical door they walk through. It could be the door of their relationship. It's the door of a certain intimate context that changes, completely transforms who they are and what they do and how they do it. Yes, I understand there are roles in any relationship, but knowing that you allow a man or a woman to take away your power is not serving you or anybody around you. You have to stand before God alone by yourself and answer to Him for what He's given you and what He's required of you and what you've done with it or what you have not done with it. That's an accountability that you can't escape. That's something you'll have to do. And I know many, many women of all backgrounds. Look, it ranges from the housewife to the high power executive to the doctor, the lawyer, the teacher, any profession you can think of. No one is really exempt or immune from this. It happens across all races and class and social class of people. And income levels. It exists everywhere. They can be powerful in one context and then they walk into an existence where they are bullied. They're disrespected in every way. They're put down and shamed and cheated on and not validated and not affirmed and made to feel less than a woman or even a human being. And they have absolutely no power in that relationship. Something is terribly wrong, and ask yourself if that's the life that God wants for you. And while I'm focusing a lot on women tonight, this applies to men also. Typically not as much as women, but sadly it's relevant in certain circumstances for men as well. And so many struggle because they allow people the power to define who they are, especially those closest to them. And it's in that definition that they think that other people think they can treat you a certain way. Whatever their perception is of you, then they begin to treat you accordingly. But when you realize you have the ability, you have the power, frankly, you have the right to define yourself, you'd be amazed at how your life changes, the things that start to happen in your life, because you have embraced that you have this power to transform your world, to dictate what your world should look like and your experiences could be like, and that you can define yourself. You realize that you have the power to make decisions. And with that comes the confidence that you can do whatever it takes. If it means getting out of an unhealthy situation, if it means getting out of a risky situation, something that's unsafe for you and your family, if it means putting yourself in a better position in life where you can be the best you can be, that confidence grows when you step out making these decisions that affect your life in a positive way. But the confidence will only grow when you take it upon yourself to define who you are and know that you are worthy, that you are loved, that God created you for a special purpose. When you realize that you have the power to reject how people treat you, and you can tell them how you expect to be treated, like the queen that you are, like the incredible, blessed, vibrant spirit that God made you to be, then and only then would you develop the confidence, develop the spirit, and the power that you need to do the things that will move you from where you are currently in your life to the place that God is calling you to be. And you accept God's call. And have you ever wondered why it is so difficult sometimes to accept the calling that's on your life? It's because you've rendered yourself powerless. You've given up on the things that matter most to you. But when you start to exercise power in every aspect of your life, in your spiritual life, in your emotional life, in the things you think of, the mental, cognitive part of who you are, that power transforms you. It just permeates all of your life, and you begin to see things move and shake and happen that you never thought would happen. I'm promising you that if you step out, believing that you're worthy, believing that this is a right you have to stand in the power that God gave you, you will begin to see the changes happen in your life. And you know, for us as women, I understand that it's so very easy. It's easy for us to slip into that role of being a second-class citizen. Boy, is that too easy sometimes. Understand who you are and stand firm in it. You are an equal partner. Embrace that. Acknowledge it. And guess what? If the person that you are associated with doesn't realize that, it's on you to tell them. You stand firm on what you believe and you share that information and you let them know, look, this is who I am. Whether you think I am something else or not, let me set the record straight and tell you who I am. And so you can begin to see a different side of me, maybe embrace me a little bit differently and understand I have God-given rights and God-given power that is so mighty that if you fully get the scope of this, it might scare you. But there's no need to be scared here. Just embrace all of who I am. We all benefit from it anyhow. So understand that this place of being a second-class citizen is not acceptable. It just is not acceptable. You are an equal partner. And don't get treated as somebody's secretary. If they want a secretary, they can go hire one for $10 an hour and let them do what they do. But when you bring your heart and your soul and your skills and your talents, and you bring the things that God has gifted you with for your family, for the relationship, for the project that you're working on, whatever it is, or just for the home, just for the home. Because as women, sometimes we can do this stuff really well outside of the home, but when we come into the home context, we give it up. We give up that right to who we are and all the amazing characteristics that we have within us. When you don't share that fully, the home suffers. Those around you, the intimate relationships, your partner, your husband, your spouse, whoever, that doesn't serve them, nor does it serve you. So woman, I'm speaking to you very directly. I'm speaking to the men too, because unfortunately there are some men experiencing this. But I often get on here and tell you to unleash your power and stand in your power. But what does that really mean? And I thought I would take a few moments to speak directly to this. Do not allow someone who doesn't fully embrace who you are, or even if they do fully embrace who you are, to disrespect you. Your power begins when there's a sharing, a mutual respect and care and protection and guard that happens. That is something to cherish, and that is something that you do well. Men have their role. Women have a role. There are roles that we share together. There are roles that we intersect with. There are many things that we can do. There are things that men do so uniquely well. I wouldn't want to have to try to do that. I'm like, hats off to you. God bless you. I'm glad you have that ability and can do that. But guess what? There are some things that I do well. Allow me to do that. And don't get me wrong. I'm not about, the gender divide. There are many things we share, but I'm speaking to women who tend to still succumb to the pressures of life and the roles that we share in a male-female relationship that often gets us to that place where we shrink. Stop that. It's time to get over that and rise to the occasion, walk in your power, and speak the things that you must. Use the voice that God has given you. And so standing in your power requires two things. And listen carefully to this. It requires you to do two things. One, stop caring so darn much. You care so much to the point that you get paralyzed with care. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to say the things that will cause disruption. Guess what? Sometimes you need to disrupt a little bit. Because what is currently existing, daggone it, it needs to be interrupted sometimes. Shake it up a little bit, get refocused, and stop caring so darn much. Stand on what you believe, and get others to see your point and let them believe what you believe too. I mean, we have some power within us that we need to harness, and it's for the betterment of the family and those around us. Now, I'm not speaking to those women who don't care about improvement and care about elevating their lives and their families' lives. You need a different conversation. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to the women who are about doing the things that make them fly and soar and just really reach that self-actualization that you're striving for, and you want that for your family as well. The other thing you need to do is to stop letting people define who you are, and instead you take it upon yourself to define your daggone self. Define who you are. But to define who you are, you need to know a few things about yourself. And by the way, I'm actually starting a women's movement. It's time. There's a great need out here, and I'm starting one. There's going to be support. There's going to be information about how women can elevate their life, elevate the things that matter most to them, their happiness, their health, their wealth. All of those things are going to be part of this. So if you want to participate in a group like that, if you want to be surrounded by people who are about improvement and advancement, just inbox me or leave a comment here. I'll be happy to send you some information. But back to knowing how to define yourself, there are a couple of things you need to do. You need to know what your value is, and you also need to know what you value. So what's your value and what do you value? Okay? Those two things need to become very, very clear to you. And in order to do that, you've got to acknowledge your strength, but you've also got to acknowledge the areas of growth that currently exist. And until you do that, there's no progress. So understand where you need to improve. Where are those areas, those opportunities for growth? Get some personal development. Start studying, meditating, reading the Bible, getting around people who can lift your spirit and feed your soul. And spend time with the Creator. Spend time improving your thoughts and your outlook on the world. What lenses do you use to view the world and circumstances? And I'm not saying be all, pie in the sky kind of thing. I'm saying have a sense of realism, but don't dwell in your realism alone, because your current reality is not the end of the story. That is not your destination. Understand your reality, yes, but understand even better your destination, where you're going and what it's going to take to get you there. So the other thing I need you to do is identify your worth. Girl, woman, you are worthy. Don't let anybody make you feel you're not worthy. Do not compare yourself to the younger version. You have some things that are so incredibly wonderful and seasoned and wise and brilliant that God has given to you, and He has given to others as well. But embrace who you are and what you have. Know your worth, so that when you have some strikes against you, when others put that worth down or they try to destroy that, you can stand in confidence in that worth that you have, as a person, as a woman, as a mother, as a sister, as a partner, as a friend, as a lover, as a wife, as whoever you are in your definition of yourself, you understand those roles clearly. Write down how you impact others and how you impact the world, and affirm yourself and state that value. And then I want you to define the things that you value. Okay? So your value and then the things that you value. It's important that you don't allow other people to sway your thinking about what you should value. Or you should not allow yourself to embrace value based on what you think other people value or what they think you should value. You've got to understand what's you've got to understand what's significant for you. You've got to understand what your non-negotiables are. And those things will guide you to what is valuable for you. Where are your values? What are the things that you hold on to regardless? When all of life is going to hell and falling apart, what are you holding on to that keeps you stable, that keeps you strong, that keeps you powerful? That's going to get you to the next level in life. So identify those important things, those significant things. And when you have uncovered the top 3 to 4 values, then I want you to start to ask yourself, how do these values fit into my life and my goals? And if they don't, if those values do not fit into your life and your goals, it's a signal to reevaluate your life and get yourself some values that fit into what is going to take you along the rest of your journey, and then evaluate your life and see what you need to shake up, what you need to get rid of, what you need to hold on to, and what you need to add. Those are going to be important. So many of the struggles and feelings of powerlessness that people experience come from living a life that is not congruent with their values. You're having problems because your life is not congruent, it's not consistent, it doesn't fit together like a lock and key with the values, those non-negotiables in your life, those significant pieces of your life. There's a disconnect. There is a gap. You need to work on that. You need to fix it. Make sure that you are doing things that move you forward in every aspect of your life. And that we live with these beliefs that render our lives to be completely powerless. And that happens a lot in an intimate relationship. And if that's happening to you, I want you to examine that thing very well and do something about it. God made you as an individual. He made you to be strong. He made you to be powerful in the way that he needs you to be, so you can show up and you can impact the world and make a difference in the world. He needs you to make a difference in the world. But you can only do that if you understand that you are strong and you are powerful. And if you're weak right now, get around some strong people. Read some things, listen to some things that will help to improve your strength and embrace your power and stand in it so you can go do the work that's meaningful in this life. Life is too short. Before you know it, the things that you could have done, you're no longer able to do. And then before we know it, life is cut short. Get up and do the things that God is calling to you to do. He does not expect you to hand over your power. And sometimes we hand over our power so cheaply. It takes nothing for us to hand over our power. It's sad and unfortunate. He doesn't expect that of us. Stop that. Stop being so cheap with giving up your power. To whom? For what? They need you more than you need them in most cases, but we succumb and we're just like these little, I don't even know, just give up. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that there are some circumstances that steal our power, that sometimes we need to do things for peace and safety, and that comes first. But let me tell you something. If that's done with purpose, if it's done in a way to maintain the security around you, then that's powerful. Don't make a mistake about that. That's extremely powerful. You do what you need to do to survive and then get the heck out of that situation. That's powerful. Don't think it's weakness. Understand what life brings and how you respond to it and where you're going. That's powerful. And sometimes what other people perceive as no power actually takes a heck of a lot of power. It takes a powerful person to do what they do in a particular situation. And when you understand that and you don't allow people to gradually break you down and strip away that power, you will show up and be powerful every time. So that no power thing that people might tell you you have, no. Tell them it takes a powerful person to stand in what I just stood in and survive and get out of it. Understand me clearly here. When I talk about power, I'm not talking about being loud. I'm not talking about being forceful. I'm not talking about arrogance and even being aggressive. I'm not necessarily talking about that. Sometimes power is that firm and confident display of maneuvering a situation in such a way that you still achieve your goals without hurting anybody. You don't have to start getting bloody and fighting and doing all of that to display power. You can, and that's a form of power, but it's not necessary. You can display grace with power. And sometimes the greatest display of power is love and not fear. You can go much further. I'm telling you, you can. And when I can destroy you and I choose not to, that's pretty darn powerful. You understand? That's pretty darn powerful. And I want to encourage you to use your power for good and not for evil. Always, always. Because it's still God-given power. It's still derived for a purpose. And when I don't allow my emotions to override my logic, and I can appeal to everybody on all sides, and I can come out representing the one I serve, the one I care about most, and still get what I want out of it peacefully, that's power. That's rational power. Some people have no idea what that is. They have no ability to display that. They don't have the capacity or the maturity to display that. But and if you don't, and that's something you want to do, I encourage you to practice it. It comes with nurturance, and you will go far in life. And you'll be able to sleep at night because you've done the right things. God-given power is to be used in a mighty way. Use it for His purpose. Use it for long-term gain, not just short-term happenings. Okay? Always remember you're dealing with a soul, with somebody. There's this old song my grandmother taught me, and it's, Lord, lay some soul upon my heart and love that soul to me. And let me do my part to win that soul for thee. And that's always something that stays with me. It's about a soul and treating people like God loves their soul. And He's using me as a vessel, as a vehicle to love their soul and love them as well. And I need power sometimes to deal with the stupid, dumb situations that life can bring us, to be able to still preserve a soul in those situations. So, go, unleash your power for good. Be proud to stand in your power, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, or wherever you are. Do not relinquish your power at the front door. Stop that. Find your place and stand firm in your power. Start exercising this basic right to be strong, to be heard, and to be respected, and your power will increase. So the next time I tell you to unleash your power, stand firm in your purpose, and go on and live life passionately, now you have a better idea of what I'm talking about. Use it for good and never for evil. Until then, love those around you. Be sure to be abundant in your giving of yourself, and let others see a good example, a good demonstration of what it is to be powerful and not abuse that power. Have a great evening, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.